So, new media viewers, it's me, John D. Villarreal, here with Congressman Allen West. Congressman, great to see you again.
Pleasure, John. Pleasure to be with you.
Now, it's tax time coming up.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got the Buffett rule, the quote-unquote Buffett rule being pushed by President Obama and his allies in Congress. What's your take on that whole situation?
Well, it has nothing to do with our debt and deficit because, as a matter of fact, what the Joint Commission on Taxation already did the research. It's only going to give you 40 to 50 billion over the next 10 years. So that's like 0.5% impact on the debt and deficit, especially when you have a president who wants to increase the debt by another 10 to 11 trillion. So this is really about this president's version of economic, it's political gimmickry. His version of economic fairness and fair share, shared sacrifice, and it's all about trying to pit people in the United States of America against each other based upon a socioeconomic status.
Class warfare. Absolutely,
class warfare. It's about division. It's about envy. It's hope and change has now become divide and rule.
Well, see, that's the thing. I mean, it's one thing to have a conversation about what fair tax rates are, quote-unquote fair tax rates are, and we may think one way and maybe the Democrats think another way. But I think now the nation is facing this huge debt and deficit. And, I mean, do you feel like the Democrats and President Obama are really addressing that, or do you feel like they're not?
Well, they're not addressing it. This is not about addressing our economic security. What this is about is expanding the bureaucratic nanny state to get more people tied to government, economically dependent upon government, either by subsistence check or by employment check, and therefore they will stay in power forever. And it's much the same as Alexis de Tocqueville talked about in Democracy in America, that this American republic will collapse once Congress and obviously our president realizes they can bribe the public by using the public's treasury.
I agree with that. Now, this election, obviously, in my personal opinion, is very important.
It's probably the biggest we've seen.
What do you think about what's going on right now? What's your read of it? Do you feel like Governor Romney, who will, I believe, be the nominee?
Presumptive nominee.
The presumptive nominee.
The thing is,
his chances are right now?
I think his chances are very well, as long as we continue to draw the contrast between their vision for America and what we want to see for America. The American people have a choice, and it's a choice between two very divergent futures for this country. If we want to continue to see ourselves be economically bankrupt, or do we want to see this republic restored economically, our energy security restored, and also our national security. But our global influence is diminished. This president has done nothing to help the United States of America.
So now, in my personal opinion, you're seeing sort of some, I guess I would say, games out there on the left in terms of like manufactured issues like the war, quote-unquote war on women, and we can go on down the line.
But that's part of the divisiveness that they have to create. If it's not along socioeconomic lines, it's along racial lines, it's along gender lines. That's what they have to do, and that's why I say it is no longer hope and change, it's to divide and rule.
So how do you and Governor Romney sort of push back against that? How do you fight against that? How do you cut through the noise to get to the voters to deliver the message of the Republican Party in an optimistic way?
Well, I think I do pretty good at that.
I know you do.
And I think that everyone on our side, not Republicans, conservatives, we have to be able to, once again, talk about that contrast. Talk about what we are trying to do to get these closed storefronts open back up, what we're trying to do to get capital back in the pockets of the American citizen and not up there in Washington, D.C., which is exactly what is happening. You know, if you read the little short essay by Frederick Bastiat called The Law, this is about legal plunder, and that's what's coming out of Washington, D.C.
Now, okay, who do you feel Governor Romney should choose for VP? I've already talked to you about maybe, if you would want to do it. I think you would be an excellent choice, quite frankly, but if it's, would you still be willing to be vice president? And if it isn't you, who do you feel like Governor Romney should select if you're able to say?
Well, the first thing for me is to be a good congressional representative.
Absolutely.
And whatever comes down the pike, I'll contend with it at that time. And Governor Romney will make the best decision for this country and as a running mate for himself.
Last question. Now, you're now running in a new district, and I've seen, in my personal opinion, some of the liberal media kind of going after you. How is the race going for you, and how do you feel about what they're doing? I think that they're targeting you because I feel like they're scared of you because you're very effective.
It's all about fear, and that lets you know that you are effective, because if you were not drawing all their ire and attention, I believe that there's some chuckleheads here that are trying to protest. This is insidious, and so all that does is just make me turn up the heat on them.
Thank you, Congressman West.
Thank you.